Not a bad sound. This sound comes from the JD-xI, which is an amazing machine, but with a lot of hidden menus, as you may already know. Some people argue it's because if it didn't have those hidden menus, it would totally jeopardize the JD-xA, which cost 4 times more. So I loved it. I loved the sounds. I already posted some videos about it, but it was quite frustrating that you only have access to one knob for the envelope. So no individual parameters such as, Attack Decay Sustain Release, and a lot of other options that you cannot access easily. So to really sculpt a sound and to get something like this, you do need that, and otherwise you have to go through a lot of menus. And I thought, okay, how can I, solve this problem? And the other negative side, a little bit, it's not too bad, but the keyboard is it's okay, but it's very small. So it's okay to do lead, but when you get into chords, which doesn't make sense here because it's mono, it's difficult. So the best partner for the JD-xI is another Roland MIDI controller. It's the A800-Pro series. It's got I've got the A800, but it works the same with the A500. I think the A300 does not have all those faders. I'm not sure. So I got this. I connected to the JD-xI with the MIDI, and the hard work is to actually make control maps to enable the controller to directly access the parameters on the JD-xI. Those parameters are handled via MIDI messages. Some of them are CC messages and some of them are Sysex, system exclusive messages. So you have to go through the horrible implementation guide provided by Roland. They obviously make it very difficult for you to do it. But once you understand how it works, you have some amazing results. So what we're going to do, we're going to start from a blank sound, and we're going to try to see what I did to sculpt a sound. So we're starting from scratch. Let's take another one. So this is like a basic sound. It's a bit loud. Okay, this is the basic sound, right? So what I did is I kept the cutoff and release from here. This is not very useful because, it's not necessary because you have the cutoff and the resonance here, but I thought, okay, I'll start with that. Then you've got access to vibrato. The vibrato is only accessible from the menu. So now you have vibrato rate, vibrato depth, and vibrato delay. So just with that, we can already get some interesting sound with the vibrato rate. This is the time it takes to reach the vibrato. So for example, so just with these knobs, we can get something. Okay, now the other one is Oscillator Detail. So you can get some interesting effect here too. This one is a pulse width modulation. So this is only working if you choose a waveform which has a square wave. So this one, for example, let's start without a sub oscillator. So now, see the pulse width is modulated by the other phone, and this is the intensity of the modulation. So this is nice to get like a bit crazier sounds. I used to have access here, those buttons for the shape of the oscillator, but I thought it was not necessary because this is pretty good the way they did it here, right? You choose your triangle or your sine wave, and you add a sub oscillator, one or two octaves down. Okay, so I like the way they did it. I don't need that, so I use that for arpeggiators instead, but we'll go through that later. Now, another one that's really important is how sensitive the filter is to the velocity of the. So if you hit hard, the filter is gonna go a bit over the cutoff frequency. We'll go through that, and then one thing also important is how the filter follows the keys. So the higher you go, you know, the filter is going to adapt to the keys or not. So if we start with a really basic, and then yeah, here the ADSR for the amplitude, so, and then the ADSR for the filter, and the last one is the filter envelope depth. So how much these parameters will affect the cutoff of the filter. I hope this is clear. Now, in this part, I try to replicate what you would find on a synthesizer like a Moog or something. So you've got the band range here, so you can go, you can select how much up is your bend and how much down. So for example, this down at the moment, I could put, see? So this is to go more down, this is for the pitch bend range down, pitch bend range up, legato, on and off, or portamento, on and off. So this is the kind of thing you would find, you know, separately near the keys on the left side usually. So I try to assign it to those buttons, and this is dedicated to the arpeggiator. I'll go through later, otherwise it's going to be too long. So now I'm just going to do like a simple, we're going to shape a sound from scratch with only this. So let's start from scratch. Init. Okay, basic sound wave. I use cutoff, resonance. I'm not going to use the vibrato now. I'm going to detune a bit. I'm not going to modulate the pulse width just to make it clearer. This is important. I'm going to make it quite sensitive to the velocity, and then I'm going to start shaping it. So let's. Okay. So this is just for the amp, and this is where it gets interesting with the filter. Octave down. So the filter comes really, really slowly. Nice effect. Less slow, faster. See, this is so quick to get into a nice sound. Just with this, we don't have that. I already have a decent sound. I think it's still too long, so I'm going to reduce that. It's getting closer. A bit more resonance. Bit too slow, the filter, etc. So just quickly on the arpeggiator. So there's an arpeggiator which is really good. You trigger it, but you only have 2 buttons for the arpeggiator. So basically, you can set it up, okay, and you can hold it. So what I did is that I assigned a lot of parameters to these 4 buttons. So I can change the grid. See, for example, we're on quarter notes, I think now. I can change. I'm gonna get into the menu and see what it does. So we can see, for example, shift. You get into the menu of the arpeggiator, right? So now I can change the style of the arpeggiator by pressing this button, and you can see it changes the pattern. So it's very much quicker. to do that. I can change the duration, I can change the motif, etc, etc. So another way to quickly go into the menu of the arpeggiator. And these 4 buttons, they're also, this is the LFO shape. We didn't even go into the LFO, it's really good. It's how one LFO has access to 3, it's the modulation basically. It can modulate the pitch, the filter, cutoff, or the amplifier section. So this is great. You can manipulate it from here. So what I added with those buttons is the fact that it's triggered by the key. So the LFO starts every time you press a key or not. You can trigger that on and off. Try to demonstrate. Of course, first I have to put some modulation. Okay. Okay. If I press off, it's not triggered by the key. And I can change here if you synchronize or not the LFO to the tempo. So if you do synchronize it, then you can select on which note it will be synchronized. So you can do it from here. See? So I'm going faster now. Okay? So this is also very deep in the menus. So now I can do... Okay, so I'm gonna remove that. That's it, I mean... Yes, I started working on a lot more things, but I decided to just focus on one synthesizer, which is the Analog Synth, and just to make it really, really nice to, you know, to control instead of going through those menus. So I think I'm pretty happy with the result. I can come with the sound very quickly, and yeah. I hope you also enjoy it, and don't hesitate to ask me questions on how I implemented it, or if you want to have more info about the control maps. Thank you for watching. Enjoy.